Hello there, out there in internet world. I'm just getting warmed up here, letting people come on over. Hopefully I'm broadcasting. Yay, there I am. I'm broadcasting. Okay, let me just make this let me just make this public, and then I'll get on with what I got to say because I got stuff to say. Yes. So how are all you guys out there? I hope everybody is well and healthy. So I wanted to do a video. I wanted to talk about yesterday here in Connecticut. There was a rally that was put together by the Connecticut Libertarian Party. God bless them. They did a great job. They organized a tailgate rally. So I just want to clarify a couple of things. First of all, I want to say that I met a lot of, hey Joe, how are you? I met a lot of wonderful people yesterday at the rally. I mean, seeing them and talking to them, not like in their face and breaking social distancing or whatever. To begin with, I tend to be the type of person that likes 6 feet away. I like a lot of body space. So it's kind of ironic because I'm good with lots of body space. I'm actually good with staying home too, but not like this. I'm not good with this. I'm very, very concerned. So there was a rally yesterday in Hartford, and it was a very successful rally. Everybody followed the law. Everybody, we have a right to redress our government if something is wrong. Guys, something is definitely wrong. The governor of Connecticut now put out an executive order where you're required to wear a face mask. The irony is, in that executive order, it specifically says if you have a medical condition, you don't have to. And you don't have to prove that you have a medical condition. Okay? It really is not healthy to breathe into a face mask. I mean, there's numerous studies about this. I just think it's over the top and ridiculous. And how much are we going to take before we give pushback? How much? So most of the people, I did a couple of videos yesterday, and I was really stunned with the hate and how people think that it's okay to pick on my physical appearance, pick on I'm telling a personal story. I have a daughter who has a disability who needs some serious services. The state of Connecticut cannot provide right now for her. They're doing the best they can. The people working with her are doing the best they can and are very frustrated, but because she can't have certain services or certain things or certain medical things that people need. It's called human interaction and having things to do. And when you're dealing with people who need extra care, need that human interaction, it's extremely difficult. So I was sharing about that. And people were really rude and hateful. It was quite shocking. So, like, how does this happen? Where is it that people think that it's okay to call you names, to tell you they wish you would die, to look up what your business is and criticize you and tell you your family hates you? What kind of a world have we become when we speak to each other that way? I'm just really, really surprised about that. So I wanted to put together this video because I am very upset about the way the majority leadership here in Connecticut is handling this crisis, to be honest with you. And I'm going to call them out on this. I'm very upset with how Governor Lamont is handling this crisis. I cannot believe he's got a 70% approval rating. I have lots of questions. What about the Stanford study that just came out? What about that study that said the death rate is 50 to 85% lower than it was actually predicted? And we already know that the imperial model was flawed and drastically wrong. But we still are continuing with these very harsh measures. It was one thing when it was a couple weeks, right? We're gonna quarantine for a couple weeks, which I never understood because as far as I've always known, and and in history in general, you never have quarantined the healthy. And so people are getting upset about this, and it doesn't look like there's any end in sight anytime soon, at least here in Connecticut. Our governor is talking about up to 2 to 6 months to be quarantined. So people gathered yesterday in Hartford. There's going to be more gatherings. Facebook's trying to censor this information. So I had a little video that I wanted to share with you guys from yesterday. So there was discussion online by elected officials, senators, and representatives, and the majority party in Connecticut were putting out tweets calling people who were going to gather in Hartford yesterday for the rally to protest these very draconian, strict measures that Governor Lamont keeps enacting. It's like every a couple of days there's a new executive order. The newest one is about face masks. This video isn't specifically about the face mask. This is about the rally. But people are getting very concerned that once you give up these freedoms, you're never going to get them back. Our governor wants to track and trace you. Do you understand that? Our governor wants to track and trace you. So if you test positive for COVID-19, they're going to track all the people that you connected with. So if you go into a shop, a coffee shop, a grocery store, wherever, anybody that you come in contact with, they're going to do contact tracing. They're going to isolate that person just for you testing positive. You don't even have to be sick. Now, here's a couple of questions. How accurate are these tests? That's number one. How accurate are the tests? Number two, what if you test positive and you never get sick? That plenty of people are in that situation. You can't lock people up who might test positive and say, oh, you're an asymptomatic carrier. That's crazy. Every single one of us at any given time of day could test positive for a virus. And you know what kills me? I have people tell me all the time, you're not a scientist. You're not an epidemiologist. What the heck do you know? Well, let me see. I spend a lot of time reading and studying about human health. I'm very interested in this subject, but let me tell you who else is not a scientist. You want to know who else is not a scientist? Governor Lamont is not a scientist. How does he get his information? From scientists. How do I get my information? From scientists. I'm friends with scientists, like real friends with scientists. We had a forum here in Middletown. Our nonprofit organization, J. Terry Foundation Incorporated, put together a science forum at the Middletown Library with 2 scientists. Okay? So you don't have to be a scientist to read about science. You don't have to be an epidemiologist to read about epidemiology. And you know who else isn't a scientist that y'all would look, not all of you, but a lot of people would say, they're trusted, we trust him. Bill Gates. He's not a scientist either. Bill Gates isn't a scientist. So it drives me crazy when people call me names, tell me that I can't read, I'm not able to make judgments or decisions or read studies like the Stanford study that just came out, which I'll put a link to that in the video when I'm done. I can't do it when I'm live. But so there's a study out of Stanford, and then interestingly, they're fighting about the study in Stanford. So then there's another study out of Los Angeles saying the same thing as the study out of Stanford, which is the death rate is a lot lower, that there are more people infected sooner than we even knew, because what is the data? We don't even have accurate data, and everybody is taking away all our rights and panicking. And I can't believe that people are shocked that there are folks like me who are saying, whoa, hold on a second. Something is terribly wrong here. We can't do this, guys. Come on. And when the governor tells you to snitch on your neighbor, I mean, I've blocked people. I've never thought in a million years I would do that. I don't want to be in an echo chamber. I'm happy if people don't agree with me. I don't think I know it all. I never said I did. I have lots and lots of questions. But I feel like so paranoid. You got the governor on TV, and then I get people telling me I'm dangerous for sharing information that they disagree with, and I'm dangerous and it's misinformation when it's not. It's not misinformation. I'm very careful about the things that I'm sharing online. It's not misinformation. Even the story, people are saying, oh, that's misinformation about people in Africa dying from being tested, having vaccines tested on them. That's absolutely true. Now, there's a controversial story. I'm going to get more into that in a whole nother video with the children in Africa that that died, and there's a whole controversy about that. But that's not what this video is about. I'm just using that as an example that there's a lot of information out there. When you have this COVID-19 vaccine and 7 companies, it's like the COVID-19 gold rush, which is very alarming. Where are they testing those vaccines? That's, so these are questions. I have questions, lots and lots of questions. Viruses mutate. It's not easy to put corona into a vaccine. They've been trying it forever. There's videos out there of Dr. Paul Offit and Dr. Peter Hotez talking about how, and like normally I totally disagree with them, okay? There's those people out there that are, saying, hold up, wait a minute. So what our governor is saying right now, this is what I want to do, hold up, wait a minute. Quarantine sick people. Don't worry about asymptomatic carriers. People have been walking around carrying stuff forever. It never mattered before. We have the flu before. The flu could have killed grandma before. That never changed it. And we have a vaccine. And we still have the flu. Should we be locked up wearing face masks and a rubber suit? I mean, you should just put a rubber suit on because you can catch a virus through your eyes, okay? What is this? This doesn't even make any sense. I'm just totally flabbergasted. So they want to have this, our governor has this plan, and it should concern every single person in the state of Connecticut. He has a plan to track and trace, to make a mandatory vaccine for everybody, and track and trace you. Right now in Meriden, they have drones. They have drones that watch people in the park, on the beaches. What have we come to? What's going on? Why can't I ask questions? Why can't I say, well, gee, I think it's a bit extreme that Governor Lamont keeps having these executive orders, and even the numbers are going down. Even in the mainstream and the corporate news media, the numbers are going down, okay? And so Governor Lamont still keeps pushing these very harsh measures, and was recently on the 17th said that he was going to take 2 to 6 months to open, potentially. Can you last another 2 to 6 months? Have people in the state of Connecticut who filed for unemployment, have you gotten your unemployment? That $1,200, are you kidding me? That $1,200 isn't going to do anything for families. This is dire straits. People just want to go back to work and start living their lives. It's really, really over the top. So I had a video I wanted to play. I didn't want to do a super long video because we're hoping to do another live tonight where we're going to talk about the CDC and the faulty tests, and hoping to get that live up and going when I got my partner, Mr. Sparks, back in the house. But I wanted to do this quick live and talk about this little video. So I'm going to play the video for you guys. And here it is. Let's have a little chat about it. So here we are. This is Hartford, Connecticut. That's St. Francis Medical Center. That's a testing center. Nobody's blocking anything. There you have the facts. That's the truth. Nobody's doing anything. Somebody tells you that protesters were blocking this. They weren't, because I drove by here hours ago, and there was nobody here then, and there's nobody here now. So there's nothing wrong with questioning the government. There's nothing wrong with that. This is not about Trump. Wake up. It's not about Trump. This is the Hartford Center here. There's no protesters. There's nobody even getting a test, okay? I'm not making it up. I'm not here to make trouble. I'm here because I'm tired of living like this, and I do not want to live in a world where the government is going to follow me around, contact tracing, have my temperature taken from a drone, and tell me I can't be at the beach or the park with my family. This is nuts. This is absolutely unacceptable, and I don't know why more people aren't outraged. So there you go. There's the testing center. No protesters, no test takers, nobody. There it is. So, as you can see, am I still muted here? Let me see. You guys can hear me? Yeah, okay, I got levels. So, I put that video together because, hey Jen, how are you? I put that video together because I was really upset by the tweets that I was seeing yesterday on Twitter and Facebook about this rally. And when I went by St. Francis Hospital, I went by twice. I actually ended up driving outside of the caravan. They had routed the caravan. Originally, I guess they had a route that did go by the hospital. When they realized that it went by the hospital, the organizers changed the route and redirected the traffic. And I was driving through the caravan yesterday. I got a little sidetracked and ended up going by St. Francis on accident and saw that the hospital was empty. And then on my way back, I had to pass it again to get home and saw it was still empty. So I decided to pull over and do that video because there were people that actually thought that there were protesters at the hospital. Why would anybody protest a hospital? We're not protesting the hospital. We're not protesting doctors and nurses. And it doesn't, a protester does not negate respect for doctors and nurses. That's totally obnoxious to use that. To use that as a means to guilt protesters or make you feel, oh, because doctors and nurses, you're going out to redress our government. Well, we have questions because this virus looks like it's been here for a lot longer than we knew it was. All right? We have questions about the Stanford study. We have questions, lots of them. Okay, it's saying that asymptomatic carriers are people have to be locked down. So if you test positive for coronavirus, but you never ever get it, you're going to be locked up like Typhoid Mary. That's an interesting story. Okay, that's a whole interesting story. This is really interesting. All right, so Typhoid Mary, she was a asymptomatic carrier. If she never got typhoid and they blamed everybody getting typhoid on her, this is crazy. Now we know. Okay, there are virologists who will tell you that every human being carries bacteria and viruses in their body all the time. Okay? If you're just going about your regular life, going to the grocery store and interacting, and you're not having intimate relationships with people, you're not spreading disease. I mean, me, I'm the type of person that likes a lot of space from people, all right? And I tend to be more reclusive, even though I love to produce radio and do videos and music. I tend to be like an introverted extrovert. So I don't mind staying away from people sometimes. I love people, but sometimes people make me crazy, and I'm sure we all could say that. But what really concerns me is the way that neighbor is turning on neighbor, that I've had people who I know call me really horrific names. Like, I'm shocked. Like, you just called me like this name. And what I want us to do is put a call out to action to all of you out there watching this who understand and know what I'm talking about. It's time we really come out of our comfort zone, all right? It's time we really come out of our comfort zone and start talking about this and not be afraid because your friends are going to be angry at you for asking these questions. You know what? If they're your real friends, maybe they're going to get upset for a minute, but if they really care about you, they're going to hold up for a second and they're going to stop and they might listen and they might say, I think I agree with you. And they might say, I totally don't agree with you, but I respect your right to protest. Protesting isn't killing grandma, okay? Well, how come I wasn't killing grandma last year when I could have, it was flu season. The flu was killing grandma last year too, and we have a vaccine. How many people died of the flu last year? Oh, the coronavirus is nothing like the flu. But what? Okay? There's a lot of similarities to it, including the fact that the death rates aren't surpassing a bad flu year. And I'm not denying that there's not a virus that people don't need to be careful. People always need to be careful, but you know what? The government isn't going to protect you, okay? We have a constitution and a Bill of Rights for this very reason. It's not about what I look like or whether I'm a scientist or any other personal attack you could throw at me. Go ahead. I was always the kind of misfit in school anyway. I had bullies. I dealt with bullies from when I was a kid. I got over that. In my adult life, it's like I look at people like that and I see that's sad. But I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. And what I want to do is encourage other people to reach out to your legislators and demand that they show respect for all of their constituents, including the ones that they don't agree with. And it's not okay for Senator Matthew Lesser to call his constituents idiots. It's not okay for Senator Duff to call his constituents pro-COVID who don't deserve to have medical care, and that they should sign a card giving up their right to medical care with a do not resuscitate. And a Senator Duff. These are elected leaders. Senator Duff. Okay? Let me see, like the majority leader, House Speaker. Sorry, just had a brain snap on that one. But Senator Duff, Matthew Lesser, saying that, and the Connecticut Democratic Party in general. And no, I'm not a Trumper. It's not partisan, but they're making it partisan. I'm calling them out on it because I'm asking and wanting you to know why it's okay to put these tweets out there that call people names and encourage this hate and this violence against your neighbor. And why is the governor telling people to call police on their neighbor? This is insane, and people are actually doing that. I've seen it on people's threads and stuff. Oh, I'm going to call the police on my neighbors if they get together for Easter. It's none of your business. Let's just put it this way. The greater good thing is a very slippery slope to tyranny, okay? I can't guarantee your health. There's this prayer, all right, that you learn when you love an addict, all right? So if you guys, anybody out there that loves an addict and has dealt with the 12 steps or anything like, there's a prayer, and I love this prayer because when you love an addict, you know this prayer really well. You know this prayer. When you're loving someone who you can't control, you have no control. It's called, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, so I have no effect on your health. What I do, if I went out and I was coughing and sneezing and something like that, that would be, yes, sick people, when you know when you're sick. Somebody says, how do you know when you're sick? Well, I know when I'm sick. I mean, it's not like rocket science, okay? So if I'm sick and I'm sneezing and coughing and my nose is running, and you know how you are when you're sick, you stay home. I don't understand. Stay home. It's okay. We don't need to lose our rights. You stay home when you're sick. Asymptomatic carriers, show me the science besides Typhoid Mary, okay? Show me the science that proves healthy people are spreading anything to anyone. Symptomatic people do. People who are coughing and sneezing, and you're expelling the stuff out of your body. That's what the body does. That's why when the governor tells you have to wear a face mask, it's crazy because the body has to expel that air. So you're recirculating your own air back into your mouth. You're going to make yourself sick with your own recirculated air. That doesn't mean you're going to make other people sick, but when you have this mask on your face, you're actually recycling air that needs to breathe in and exhale, right? So where does it stop? Where? When? When is enough enough? I want you guys to be out there. I want you to be brave. I want you to start talking about this. If you know what I'm talking about and you haven't been vocal, please start to be vocal. Start to speak out. You don't want to live in a technocracy under technocrats. A technocracy under technocrats where you don't have rights. That's Bill Gates. Guess who the #1 funder of the World Health Organization is now? Guess. Bill Gates. The 3 top funders to the World Health Organization are the United States, but Trump pulled out. Hey, my husband says this all the time. Even a broken clock's right twice. And I'm saying this for my liberal friends who every time I say Trump, they have the hair stand on the back of their head. He got it right with this. We shouldn't be funding the World Health Organization anymore. They're corrupted, awful. Dr. Tedros is a terrorist. He should be locked up for crimes against humanity. I don't trust anything Dr. Tedros says. Dr. Michael Ryan, the assistant director of the WHO, wants to have government officials come into your house and take you out, even if you have been self-quarantining. He is on a video saying this. He's all over the media saying this. It's not enough. We have to go into people's homes because families are spreading it amongst themselves. When is enough enough? When somebody is knocking at your door to take your kid away or your husband away or your wife away just because somebody tested positive for COVID but never got sick, or they tested positive for COVID and they got over it. It was no big deal. They stayed home while they were sick. They didn't do anything, not break the law, but the government decides to come in because that's what they're doing in China. This is the Chinese model. This is what they're doing in China. This is how 5G connects to all this. Okay, 5G connects to this because 5G gives them the technology to spy on you in ways you never thought possible. When is enough enough? Is this going to rule our lives? Is this our king now? This invisible, or this war with this virus. We've lived with viruses and bacteria forever. There is science coming out now that viruses are integral in the functioning of the body. For all we know, the coronavirus that is so very common across the entire animal kingdom. No, I'm not a scientist, but I know this because I can read science and the work of other scientists. You know what else? Bill Nye, the science guy? He's just a science on TV. He's not even a scientist. So get over yourself, okay? The point is, Bill Gates is not a scientist. The point is that people who can read scientists. People who can watch scientific lectures. I spend a lot of my time watching scientific lectures. I'm fascinated about mental health. I'm fascinated about immune health. I'm fascinated by autoimmune disease. I spend a lot of time reading science, following scientists, and thinking about it. Does it make me an expert? No. But it also doesn't give somebody the right to call me an idiot and I need to shut up and go home and start swearing at me. So when is enough enough? At what point do we say that our fundamental rights are more important than the government overreacting and taking too many steps that invade your right to liberty and freedom? Connecticut wants to have contact tracing. That means they want to be able to come to your house and potentially take you out of your own home and tell you to isolate. According to who? Who and why do you have to isolate if you test positive for something you never get sick with? Because that can happen. I mean, how accurate are these tests? When is enough enough? So, and if I go somewhere, I'm visiting a friend, and then the government decides that I got to be randomly tested, and I test positive, and I never got a sniffle, no big deal, I stayed home a few days or whatever. Now my friend is going to be told by the government to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. Just like that, boom. Who knows? Maybe you had plans. Maybe something was going on. And why? Here's another question, and I'm really resent when people blame people like me for this, because this is not my fault. You should be mad at your government for this, not me. Why can't people be with their dying relatives? This is crazy. You can't. We've always had MRSA. MRSA's a thing you catch in a hospital that's highly contagious, but you still could go see your dying grandma. Why won't they let people to see their dying relatives? That's sick. That has nothing to do with me. You need to be on the phone with your legislators about this. That's over the top. If you have a grandparent in a nursing home and you can't see them because they have a coronavirus, you need to be up at the Capitol with us, because that's wrong. You should be able to see that relative, especially the elderly who need you and might have dementia and you don't know how long they're going to be around. That's the government telling you to stay home. That's not me. You could gear up. They could have PPE for people who want to visit their loved ones, instead of telling you to wrap a sock around your face that's going to do jack squat for nobody. So don't be mad at me that you can't see your loved one. Be mad at the governor, because he's the one making these executive orders. You darn straight should be able to see your loved one, especially if they're elderly and in a nursing home. They need you now more than ever. This is an outrage. How much are we willing to take before we stand up? How much? Because it's that serious now. It really is. It's that serious. And you got Facebook that's going to be, they take off stuff about vitamin C. Dr. Brownstein. Go check him out. I love him. The people of Michigan are blessed to have Dr. Brownstein. Go check out Dr. Brownstein. You want to feel good? You want to read something that's going to empower you and make you not afraid of this virus? Go check out Dr. Brownstein's COVID survival stories for a little inspiration on the things the media doesn't talk about. Now, Facebook is banning a video on vitamin C, and there are studies going on right now about vitamin C treating COVID and a million other things that vitamin C can treat intravenously as well as orally. Facebook's taking that down. Why? Why does Facebook get to decide that it can take it down? It shouldn't be allowed to do it. This is our public forum. Facebook should not be able to censor information, especially when they are trying to get into the pharmaceutical business themselves. Facebook has a brain chip, a brain implant. Okay, I'm not making this up. You could go look it up. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg and his wife, who is a pediatrician, have a medical device that they want to patent. They might have already patented. I can't say the word. They might have already gotten the patent for it, okay? So, yeah. How much is too much? Before we say enough is enough, please, guys, please, if you haven't already done it, join us. Start speaking out. This isn't, we can't, even if people are going to hate you or insult you, even if it's somebody you know and care for, if they really love you, they'll respect you, because love is deeper than any of this division and nonsense. Love is deeper than that. I truly believe it. So you got to take the risk, man. Now is the time. Now is the time. This is really serious. There may become a time where I won't be able to do a video like this because it'll be illegal. I could be arrested and thrown in jail. This is crazy. All right. When is enough enough? So I'm going to tune out and, yeah. Leave you with those questions. When is enough enough? Because I've just had about enough of this. Bye-bye, guys.